Okay, so continuing on from my last video about what is Stoicism, how can we, what are some ways that we can apply Stoicism to daily life as a software developer? So I think a lot of it really comes down to it's related to developing self-discipline and emotional control in the face of ordinary happenings in daily life as a software developer. So let's look at a few situations that maybe you can relate to. So suppose you have a disagreement with a coworker about the right way to design a particular piece of code. Well, what can we draw from Stoic practices to help us resolve the conflict and get ourselves into a good mental headspace around that? Suppose you receive some negative feedback from your manager and you feel those emotions of anger and defeatism starting to boil up inside you. Stoicism can give you some emotional management tools to prepare yourselves for situations like that. And I'm going to be talking about some specific situations. I won't be naming any names, but don't worry. But I think it'd be helpful to kind of replay some of my past experiences and see how you guys can relate to that. Suppose you feel like you're being spread too thin and been given some impossible deadlines to meet. Stoicism can offer some insights and tools on those situations. And in a extreme case, suppose that you've been unjustly terminated from your job, and you're now super anxious about your future economic well-being. How can Stoicism help us in a situation like that? So those are a few, those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. And yes, there are limits to Stoicism. Stoicism's not going to solve every problem in your life. It's not a magic, quick fix, easy button that you can just press. In fact, I think Stoicism would best be characterized as the complete opposite of an easy button. Stoicism preaches a practice of self-discipline, preparation, and hard work that, flies in the face of this instant gratification, consumer-driven, materially obsessed world that we live in, and we're bombarded with images all the time by the media. There's a saying in Stoicism that I really, really love. The more you sweat in peacetime, the less you bleed in wartime. Man, I love that. Maybe that's really the best way to describe this channel in a nutshell. We'll be doing a lot of peacetime sweating, preparing ourselves for the inevitable curveballs that come our way as we do our jobs. And screw this instant gratification culture. Take a pill and it'll fix it all kind of culture that we live in now. I don't want to start a big debate right now about antidepressants, depression and antidepressants. I am going to be talking about that in some future videos, so you can save your comments and debate for that. I do think that my personal opinion is depression and anxiety disorders are generally overdiagnosed, and that the treatments, the serotonin uptake inhibitor treatment is generally overprescribed. It's my personal opinion. You're free to disagree with that. Stoicism's really about, forget the pills. Do the work, right? Get ready. Do the work on yourself, the hard work that you really need to do to kind of get to the bottom of some of those things. But do it, do the work on yourself when you're stable. When you've got a job, when you've got your rent paid. It's a lot harder to work on yourself when you're already in crisis. I wouldn't recommend doing that. What I mean, we're in this coronavirus pandemic turmoil right now. If you just lost your job and you have no savings and you're 2 months away from being evicted, and well, that sucks. Okay, that's not a good time to try to be developing new emotional management skills. Like in a situation like that, then you just need to do whatever you need to do, as quickly as possible to right the ship, cut your expenses, find a new job, reestablish your income source, etc. Um, so maybe now for a lot of people, now is not the right time to be doing that kind of work on yourself. But when things get back to normal, then that's when you work on yourself. So you'd be ready for the next crisis, right? The next time, you know, the next time there's a global pandemic or some type of global economic upheaval, or personally, let's say, the next time that you get laid off or, whatever, something doesn't go the way you'd have it go with your job or whatever, the next time the crisis happens that you're ready for it. So you won't be caught off guard, right? So the idea is you work on yourself when you're not in crisis to prepare yourselves for tougher times. So you're ready for the crisis when it happens. So again, summarizing, the more you sweat in peacetime, the less you bleed in wartime. So love that. Okay.